What's up guys, today I explain you, Jujutsu Kaisen Gege reveals 2 couples in new chapter, and don't forget to like this video, subscribe this channel, now have fun with the video. Jujutsu Kaisen saw the release of its final volume recently, and fans were delighted to see that the author gave them a 16-page epilogue with it. This epilogue focused on quite a lot of exciting developments surrounding various characters, and it is safe to say that no fan was expecting the major shocks that Gege delivered to them in this chapter. More than anything, two major couples are formed at the end of the series, and fans are already shocked, and in some cases, outraged by what they saw in the final chapter. One of the biggest shocks that Gege delivered in the epilogue chapter came through Panda's epilogue. In this epilogue, fans saw a time skip of 62 years. At the beginning of the epilogue, fans saw two children playing around in what appeared to be a storage unit. In the storage unit, they could see a doll of Panda for some reason. Later on, the narrator went on to explain that Panda went out of commission in 2035 and was then stored in the storage unit of the Gojo family. This was down to the fact that the head of the Gojo family at the time was none other than Yuta Akotsu. This in itself came as a major shock to the fans. But what was an even bigger shock was the fact that the current timeline of the story was actually the year 2080. 62 years later, following the conclusion of the Shinjuku Showdown arc, Yuta was now the acting head of the Gojo clan, and at this point, he already had grandchildren as well. In fact, the children seen at the beginning of the epilogue were Yuta's grandchildren, much to the surprise of the fans. Yuta himself was not seen in the epilogue, and neither was his wife. In fact, fans weren't even told who Yuta's wife was, and this might confuse quite a lot of the readers, especially because Yuta and Maki are claimed to be a couple here already. The fact is that when one takes a look at the grandchildren shown in Gege's epilogue chapter, it is quite clear as to who the grandmother of these children is. To be more precise, Yuta has two grandchildren, and one of them is a boy, who appears to be the older one, and the other is a girl. The girl looks exactly like Yuta in terms of her appearance. Furthermore, she even wears Yuta's ring around her neck, just as he used to. This ring likely still summons Rika, and this might just imply that she is the protector of the family at this point in time. The boy certainly looks like Maki, and, in many ways, can easily be mistaken for Megumi. This is simply down to the fact that the Zenin genes are very strong in this character, which all but confirms to the fans that Maki is the grandmother of the children. Unfortunately, fans did not get to see the child of Yuta and Maki, which is certainly a shame. However, the fact that the fans took from this epilogue was that Yuta and Maki ended up together at some point and had kids. Yuta was confirmed to be alive at this point in the story, but no comment was made on whether Maki was alive or not. But, given that Maki has a superhuman body and a powerful heavenly restriction, it is highly likely that she is in a far better condition than Yuta at this point in time. Hopefully, in the future, fans will get a glimpse of Yuta and Maki together at some point. Gege also focused on Ozawa in the epilogue, a decision that shocked many fans. For those who do not remember, Ozawa is the same girl from Yuji's school who liked him quite a bit. She appeared in the story for a bit before being cut off from the plot entirely. In the epilogue chapter, Ozawa was focused on once again, and this time around, fans got to see her being full of resentment over people not recognizing the new her, and being shallow as they are. However, just then, Yuji stumbled upon her and recognized her immediately. As fans know, this is something that happened previously as well when they met before the Shibuya incident. This time around too, Yuji was able to recognize her easily, and the two had a deep conversation about their lives. The author implied that these two characters could potentially end up together through the metaphor of snow. Both of them used to watch snow fall together as kids, and for Ozawa, this was a deeply enjoyable time, simply because she used to experience this magical moment with the person she loved. Many years later, Ozawa asked Yuji if he still loved watching snowfall, to which he said that he did. Ozawa and Yuji are now enjoying snow together once again, and fans know that this was a major setup from Gege. This was hammered home by the fact that Nobara and Megumi both commented on the fact that Yuji is now about to become an adult, which essentially goes to imply that this is Yuji's challenge to get into an adult relationship and take things from there. Of course, Yuji's relationship is more open-ended than that of Yuta, but it cannot be denied that the author is setting up a romantic subplot with Ozawa here, because otherwise, the entire point of having her in the epilogue would be useless. Jujutsu Kaisen has officially ended, which means fans won't get any additional content from the author, at least for a good while. As such, it is very hard to predict whether fans will get any more relationships being built by the author or not. But, if Gege does ever change his mind and write more content, such as one-shot chapters or more epilogues, then, fans could potentially see more relationships being built, and at the same time, a few more being elaborated upon, such as that of Yuji and Ozawa, and Yuta and Maki. This would certainly be a very interesting addition, and fans can only hope that they get to see some of it at some point later down the line. For now, fans simply have to be content with the fact that they got to major relationships being set up in the story. And that in itself is plenty of new content before the end of the year in the proper conclusion of Gege.